Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Jessica and I'm here to talk about my cross stitch today. It's been a while since my last last film. I guess it's not too long, but I just got super busy with my Etsy shop, packing orders, all that holiday stuff happening. And I really didn't stitch much between mid-November, and of course my cat's already at it, mid-November to like mid-December. So I still have a lot to share today though, because I did a lot of like FFOing during that time because I wasn't stitching. So we're gonna get into that. I don't have it in any particular order behind me. So I'll try and grab like the frame stuff first, but it might be a little bit out of order for like a regular Flosstube. And if you hear any background noise, that's my cats, of course, again. All right, so let's go ahead and get into everything. First up, I have my cherry magpie is finally framed. I'm gonna try and get not as much glare, but it's gonna be hard because it's under glass. I like to frame my stuff with glass, like ultimately, but for like product photos, I don't have the glass in, so that's why the product photos are easy to get, but now it's gonna be hard with all this shininess glare on here. So this is one of my own patterns. It's called Cherry Magpie. It is stitched on a 40 count box and rabbit linen called beetroots. And it's stitched mostly DMC, and then it has two over dye flosses. The dark blue is a Threadworks, and then the hot pink is a Color and Cotton Zinnia. So yeah, that's how it turned out. I went with the wine color frame from the frame shop that I got a custom frame from, which is signed and numbered on Etsy, and they also have a website too. But yeah, you can see their little logo there. That's like, they have like these boards, I don't know what it is. It's not like plywood, but it's like a really thin like wood board with their stamp on it, which is pretty cool. And yeah, and this like is super thick too. So I was able to get the stitch piece in there on foam board along with their backing. I put a like mat board, like an acid-free mat board in between my stitching and their backing, because it's, I don't know if this wood would be like over time discolored, like if I ever wanted to frame it differently, that sort of thing. So I just pop that in there. And then I also put spacers in here. So it's a lot of room, and you can do a lot, and there's still a lot of extra room too. Like you can see there's that extra. But yeah, that's how it turned out. I really like it. It's on my wall right now. I had a problem with this corner trying to get it straight though. I don't know what the issue is, because down here it's like pretty straight, like there's pretty even margin along the entire bottom, but for some reason I could not stretch this corner enough to get it like straight with the rest of the stitching up there. I don't know. I might go back and try and reframe it, relace it, but yeah, it just is what it is right now. Maybe, oh, that's the way to do it. That's the ticket right there. Just reflective ceiling. Okay. But yeah, there you go. Cherry Magpie finally finished in its frame. I need to edit the photos. Like I need to do the editing for the cover image, because I haven't done the final cover image. I just did like a temporary cover image for that, but that one's done. Okay. Next, I'll pull this guy. Okay. This one is not my design. This is by Star Parade Designs. It's called Griffin Sampler, and it's charted as a monochromatic, so I chose my own colors for stitching this. And yeah, I stitched it I have the year on here in 2023, so it was last year. Yeah, it's December 29th today, so it's still 2024 for me, so this was last year. Yeah, and I finally got this in a frame, just a thrifted frame. Not much to it. I think I was able to get, did I get spacers? Yeah, I was able to get spacers in here too, and still have enough room to like do the point driver on them. I have my own tool that like puts these little tabs in. It's called a point driver, because I end up like the size, like the depth of my stuff is usually not what comes standard with the points in there. because I add the spacers and it's usually thicker because of the stitching, that sort of stuff. But yeah, this one's all done. The only change, aside from the colors, I did make one other change to this pattern, and I did, there was a border all the way around it, and I removed that border for my stitching. And this is on a 40 count Picture This Plus ale linen. And that one's that one. That one's that one for sure. That's that. Okay. I might be able to like get these. I don't know if that's good or bad because it's so reflective. Maybe I'll just set them down for now. Okay. Another one I framed that is not my design, but needed a frame and finally got one, is this ink circle piece. It's one of the mandalas. I didn't look up the name of it before, but I'm pretty sure it's Grecian Urn, and I will like do a little text if that's wrong. And I think this is on a 40 count cyprium Picture This Plus linen and stitched with just 310 DMC. So that one finally got its frame. Another thrifted frame that was like, I always look for like the super thick wood frames at my Goodwill, because that's what I like to have plenty of room for all the spacers and all that stuff in there and the glass. I like to keep the glass if possible. Yeah, so there we go. Another one down. I don't know where to put these on the ground. Hopefully the cats will be nice and not come over and mess with them. Okay, I have this one done as well. This one does not have glass, so you can actually probably still see like the beading in there. But this is a recent pattern I designed after watching Agatha All Along. I wanted to stitch something design something because that song Witch's Road from that series was just stuck in my head for so long. So I came up with this little pattern and yeah, stitched it up really quickly, but it now has its frame, and I don't think I haven't released this one. I have finished the PDF for it though, so I just need to, actually post it to not my Etsy, because this is going to be a free pattern. It's going to be posted to my Ko-fi, so just for a free download. But this is stitched on a 40 count linen, I think. So 1, 2, 3 stitch says it is wichelt, and it does not feel like wichelt. And I honestly, I feel like some of the linens, the 40 count linens, are mislabeled on there, because there was some other linens on there. One of my projects I started on a Zweigart apricot linen, and it looks exactly like what's on 1, 2, 3 stitch. I got it from my LNS though, my local needlework shop, and Denise, the owner, was very certain that this is, and it feels like Zweigart too, but yeah, so I'm not sure. And I guess what I was saying was the 1, 2, 3 stitch, it's listing like this apricot linen in 40 count as wichelt and not Zweigart. I just have a hard time believing that both wichelt and Zweigart have the exact same color and same name for the color. It just makes me think that it's mislabeled, and makes me think this is mislabeled as wichelt as well, because it does not feel like wichelt, and it's in the color Sage. Yeah. But this is stitched with like a ton of different fancy flosses, because I just pulled stuff from stash. I just wasn't trying to make it, I guess, easy on people wanting to replicate it, but I also just wanted to do a stash dive for it and not really worry about finding like the best DMC colors. It was easier because it's just a fun little stitch. It also has some beads on there. These are the brand is, I think it's Sundance beads, and it's something my local needlework shop has in stock. They're size 14, 15, they say 14/15 seed beads. So the Mill Hill Petites would be the same size as these, because I think Mill Hill Petites are size 15, but the Mill Hill Petites just don't have the color variations, like the different colors that would match these beads, which is like a bright fuchsia and then a mint, like glassy seed bead. So yeah, this one's all finished. So I can put it a little closer because there's no reflection on this one. All right, and I'll get this pattern out soon. I just haven't. I've been not on Instagram lately, not really wanting to mess around on my computer because we're all on winter break, and my husband and daughter are all on winter break, and we're still on winter break, but we're just taking like a rest day right now, so I had some time to film this. Yeah, so that's Witch's Road, and I'll get that up hopefully soon. Set this one can actually go right there. All right, another one, another FFO from, oops, this came undone. This is something I finished stitching. I showed off last Flosstube, and then I did the FFOing for it. It's Unicorn's Garden by Sprouting Lupine. This is on a 36 count Picture This Plus woodland, and it's stitched 1/2. All of my 40 count stuff is 1/2. But 36 count Picture This Plus, like, it's definitely, I think definitely too tight to stitch 2/2 on it, but it looks good with that. It has pretty good coverage, really good coverage with 1/2 stitching, yeah. And it, I changed the palette just a little bit, or I guess some significant areas, but mostly stick true to what the designer Sprouting Lupine chose. I just used a lot more over-dyed flosses, like definitely in the leaves. All the greens on the tree has an over-dye that's Pirate Robin. I think the white is still a DMC, and like the fence is a DMC. But yeah, a lot of the colors in here are over-dyes instead of the called for DMC. And I made this hanger myself. I got wooden beads and wooden dowels from Michael's. They had all this stuff, and I was like, I looked for, like, the wooden beads had on their package a diameter measurement for the hole, which was very handy because then I was able to just pick the dowel that was closest to the bead width, because I wanted it to like look, I don't know, like it was one piece and not have to measure, not have to deal with like extra room in that bead hole, I guess. So I used some glue to just, when I put the glue in the bead and just stuck the dowel in, and then wiped off the excess and let it dry. And I created the little dowel, and then I used, I made some cording for the hanger. And I can't remember, I think what I did was I wasn't able to make a piece that was long enough for like this sort of setup. Let's look at it. Wasn't able to make a piece long enough because I just have, you could, like, if you've made cording before, you know, like you're stretching it out really far, and then you have to like get the midpoint, and you're doing this, I'm doing this as one person usually, so it's there's like a certain length where I can't go past it because I won't be able to handle everything, be able to get it all twisting correctly. So I used 2 pieces of cording and tied them together at the ends, and it's just like you can pop it off. So it's just a big loop of cording with the 2 little tassels at the end, and it just pops right back on there, and it works if I can grab it in time before it falls. There we go. Yeah. So that's that one. It's got fully finished, and now it's up on my wall. This is, I finally, part of the motivation to getting all this stuff framed is I just wanted stuff to actually hang up on the walls, because up until this point, the only cross stitch I have hanging up really is, I have like a big piece up above me, like up above the mantle. And it's it's like the first piece I started, but not the first piece I finished, because it's one of those, I'll put the name down here, I can't remember. It's a Russian designer, but she does those circular dragons. Yeah, and they're very blend heavy, lots of backstitching, lots of colored so like different colors of backstitching. So it was a little bit too much for me for my first piece, and it took a while to finish, but I have it up there, and it's pretty big because I did it on 14 count, so it's quite the centerpiece. But up until recently, that's like the only thing I've really had showing up on my walls. So I finally got enough things framed where I felt like I could like make little collections on my walls, which is nice. So that's the Unicorn's Garden. don't know. Well, that one can probably go right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Last framed guy is this one. This is, and I recently posted this on Instagram, this is Persephone's Garden, which is another design by me. It is stitched on a 46 count Midnight Ride by XJU Designs, and it's stitched in Pirate Robin flosses for this one, with the exception of one color, like this color on the edge of the tree is DMC. And yeah, it's all framed. Once again, it has the glass, so it's glare. This one didn't fit as well. Like I wasn't able to get wasn't able to like drive the points in here because there wasn't enough space. So I just like used some tape on there. And it's another thrifted frame, so, which was the perfect fit. And I am very glad about that because it's, I don't know, custom framing is nice, but it's expensive. It's not, I don't know, I guess I don't think it's that expensive when you think about the cost of like hand-dyed fabric. It's at least the pieces I stitch, it's very comparable because most of my stuff is under 11 by 14 and that's not too pricey for custom frames. So, but oh man, I don't think I can really get this close without having too much glare in there. Reflection, that's what I mean. Yeah, but it's all framed and ready to go. This one's up on my wall already as well. Yay. Okay. All right, so I think that takes care of all of my framed stuff. Will that fit there? Yeah, that'll work. I'm gonna cover it up anyway though. Let me see. Oh, that's okay. Okay. All right, that takes care of my frame stuff, and now I have some more finishes, but no more framed things at this point. I did finished 2 Christmas ornaments this year. Well, actually 6, because these are the ones I kept, but I also stitched 2 of each design for some friends. The first one is, well, I didn't stitch these, I just finished. This one is from last year. It's a little puppy cat, which is a cartoon animation. I think it's on Netflix now. It was like ages ago that a pilot came out, and the pilot is totally different than the current puppy cat, like the actual what came out in the end. Because I think they got extra funding. I don't know the whole story. I'm not super into puppy cat. I just like it, and it has some meaning for my friend group. So this was stitched last year, all 3 of them, and then they just kind of sit unfinished for a long time because I don't know why. It just didn't happen. And I finally got them finished. I stitched them on a 20 count. It was fiber on a whim, and I think it's kiwi. I'll list if it's not that. I think it's kiwi though. And it's 1/1 for like DMC. And this is just a little self-drafted pattern. So there's the finished piece. It turned out much better than I expected. I don't know, I didn't finish it last year because I was worried I would mess up stitching the pom-pom trim on. That's what I think was my holdup. But in the end, it turned out much better than I expected, actually. And that was one of my finishes for ornaments. And then the other one, this is something I stitched this year and finished this year. So I made 3 of these as well. This is on a 40 count fiber on a whim in the color Merlot. It's fiber on a whim linen. I stitched 1/2. This is a Night Spirit Studio pattern. I think it's called Plague Doctor Ornament, but I'll have like all of my projects down in the description box. So I made some changes, if you're familiar with the pattern, because I think it's a just black, white, red combo. So I did, I have the stuff here. I did DMC 739 for a cream color, and then I used DMC 814 and 816 for like the flowers in here and the like part of the robes for the Plague Doctor. The lighter red is one of these, and then the darkest color is a Gentle Art floss called Cinders. Yeah. And I had to, because this pattern was designed on black aida and part of it was negative space, that like the inside of the rope, the dark cinders color was not there on the pattern, so I had to stitch all that in with the darker color since I was stitching it on a lighter fabric, if that makes sense. If you saw the pattern, or if you had the pattern, you would know. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, and then I think there was a border all the way around. I removed that and did a like backstitch border all the way around, and I also backstitched another piece of the linen with the same border. I put the date on there. That way I could, for finishing, it's kind of like if you've done a Viscornu finish, you like turn in the edges and you just like stitch up like between the back stitch all the way around. So that's what I did for this finish. I added beads to it while I was doing that, while I was like finishing sewing up the size, and it's Millhill 02045. It's just like a reddish, purplish kind of one. I don't know what it's called, but it reminds me of like the business, like where it's like a little rainbow sheen on it, like oil slick kind of look. But yeah, you sew it up like you're doing a Viscornu. You just add the beads as you're going. Like I did every other stitch was a bead. And I also I didn't put any like stuffing in it. It's flat. But I did do I cut a mat board. Yeah, I use mat board for this. I cut mat board that was just slightly smaller than the like backstitched border. And then I glued some quilt batting on both sides of the mat board. So like one piece on each side. Let that dry so I didn't want like any glue spots like leaking through to the fabric. And I like shoved that in there. Like after I had one side, like a side or two done, I would like shove that in there so that it would kind of give it a little bit more. It's kind of bendy. If you really wanted to, you could bend it, but it's a little harder. And yeah, you could also make like a little pillow. I think that would work out really well too. Like just put polyfill in there. It wouldn't be like as large. It might look smaller because it's like more rounded. I did have, the only struggle I had with that whole thing, that whole process, was like the corners and just the extra fabric there. You can kind of see on the back there's like little bumps for the corners. This one's actually pretty good. I might have taken one of my later ornaments, because I think at the beginning there was like much larger, like from the other two ornaments I stitched. In the beginning I had more issues with this, but I found that like you have to fold the what is it called, like that excess fabric that's being sewn, like the part you fold in, I don't remember what that's called for some reason, like seam allowance, is that what it is? So you fold that in. I put the mat board so that it is right up against the front side, and then all that extra like seam allowance is like being folded behind the mat board, because it did create like these little lumps. So if you put it behind, yeah, if you like fold the fabric like basically around the mat board so that everything is in the back, it like kept that from showing on the front, so that the front is nice and flat, but the back is just like, it's not, this one, like I said, this one looks actually really good, but you can still feel the like harder lumps where like all the fabric is gathered in that corner. But there you go. That's a very long explanation for this ornament, but it was a lot of fun. I have another piece that I stitched for fun, like on a whim sort of situation, that I'm going to use like these beads and do another beaded border, but I'm going to do a pillow finish for that one. So that'll be interesting. I'll show that one too. I think it's kind of buried, so we'll get to it eventually. All right, next up is a finish. This is winter seeds. Sorry if there was an awkward cut right now. I'm not, my cat just made like a really loud crash noise, so I'm gonna cut that out. But next up is this pattern. It's Winter Seeds by me. This is the fourth one in my series it's like a seasonal Korok pattern. So this is the winter one, and there's already the spring, summer, fall seeds. and they're all this size. They're little, oh my gosh, this has to be 4x6. I think this is, I'm not sure. It's on a 40 count, so they're pretty small on 40 count. I think it's, I can't tell. It's bigger than 3x5. This has to be like a 4x6 size. But it's a 40 count cypress, fiber on a whim linen. I stitched it 1/2. I used 2 over dyes in this, I think. I've been using the same blue over dye in all of them, and it's Roxy Floss Aquatics. I have a DNC conversion in the pattern though. And then the other over dye I used for this one was the white, just because I think I got it as a freebie from Color and Cotton, and I just wanted to see how it would look. I think it was called Raw Linen, and I really can't, I don't know, I can't see any difference on here, at least. Any reason why I would want to pay extra for an over dyed white, at least in this case. Like I said, maybe it'll, like I said this in a previous video, like maybe it'll show up better in other applications, but for me, I don't even notice this. I don't notice a difference. Like even if I'm looking up close, there's no variegation that I can tell. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I haven't really decided how I want to finish this set. I've like, throughout the year, I've had an idea and I'm like, that's how I'm finishing it for sure. And then I just decide, no, that's not. I don't know. I can't really figure out where I want to display them in my house, I think is the issue I'm having. So I'm not sure how I want to do it until I know where it's going to go. Part of me just wants to put it on a bookshelf, maybe do these as flat folds would be nice. Or it could be, instead of doing a flat fold, which is a lot more work than just like making this essentially like a flat, I don't know what it's called. I don't know if there's a name for it, but it's where you just like finish this as some like a flat finish without any, it's like basically this on mat board, like an ornament. That's what it is. It's like this, like finishing it like this, but without the hanger, and then leaning it against on one of those easels. That could work on like a bookshelf, and then I could like switch them out for each season. And then the other idea I had was framing it so that it could fit in like one frame, like you could switch them out for each season, but basically putting this like as a flat finish on another board that goes into a frame, if that makes sense. That was my other idea. Like, so you could have like fabric, not this fabric, but a different like seasonal fabric border around it. You could even put some like trim. I don't know, I might try and put a picture of what I'm talking about there. I'm pretty sure I've definitely seen tutorials. I can't remember whose tutorial I came across at one point, but that's what I was thinking. Those are like my different ideas, but I had to decide what I want to do and then finish them up because they're all fully stitched. They're just not on display yet. They're just in a bucket. But that's the last one for that series. And it's, yeah, I'm amazed that I finished a seasonal series. Like design-wise, I don't know. I have a hard time sticking with stuff sometimes, or, you know, you lose interest over time and then it just becomes not something that's top of mind, or you find other things that are more interesting. So I'm glad I stuck it out for this because I really like the result of all 4 of those. Yeah. Okay. Another thing I finished, this is an ornament finish. I stitched this for my daughter. She is super into cheetah, leopard print, everything like that. So I wanted to stitch this ornament for her after I saw it. I think it's by, or I know it's by Dirty Annie's. I just don't know exactly the name. How it's Dirty Annie's, is it Southern Style or something like that? I can't remember the full name. But it's an ornament by them. It's a few years old, the design. But I changed up the colors. The pink is supposed to be like some sort of cream color. I changed it to this Roxy Floss Girly Girl. And then I used the call for the little inside of the spots. I don't remember what it is, but it's the call for. And then the outside of the spots is a very dark DMC. I changed that. That's not the call for. But I did stitch it. I just haven't finished it. Of course. She's fine. I was trying to keep it a surprise, but at some point she saw me stitching it and was very excited, and then I think I kind of lost motivation to fully finish it and get it put under the tree for like a present, because she already knew it. She already knew it was coming, but I'll have it finished for next year for her to hang up at the beginning of the Christmas decorating season, which for us is in like I usually do it before Thanksgiving. I'm like a early November Christmas decoration person. But this is on a 40 count Zweigart blush, which is just a very light pink. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's showing as pink at all on the camera, but it looks kind of white. But it's very light pink. Yeah. So that was that one. And then next up is, this is a pattern that I don't know. I think I was just like doodling on my iPad and thought that this color palette, it would be fun to try stitching on the Merlot fabric, which I've stitched a couple things on that now. I'm like getting close to finishing up a fat quarter, which is nice. It's just this really kind of long, it's very clashy, strange color palette, but it looked like it might be fun to stitch. I don't know if that can even, that's not even showing all the colors. It's DMC with one Pirate Robin called Brick. So that's the brick, and then the rest are just like some DMC colors. And I just stitched it up on the Merlot. It's a heart pattern, like a heart-shaped pattern, and you can barely faintly see the back stitch heart around both the front and the back. And I plan on finishing it like I did that ornament where you're gonna like sew up the edges, and then I'll add beads, and then this one will just have polyfill in it. It'll be like a little pillow. So that's just some doodling. It looks very doodly, and that's because it is. It's just like a little doodle inside a heart, and then the letters on the back, my initials. I found this cool, I was on Reddit, and someone in the comments linked to, I think it's called like just Internet Archive, and they were plugging the free cross-stitch patterns on there, which are a lot of, it's like very old books like that have been published in like the 1800s, early 1900s, and so they're now public domain because that's how copyright works, I guess. So they're just scanned in copies of these really old books, and some of them have very cool alphabets in there, like super fancy ones. So I chose one of those alphabets, and I just did my initials there, and then I think I charted the 2024. I charted those numbers, but they do have some numbers in there as well. So I'm gonna be hitting up those books some more, I think, because the lettering is really fun in there. And they also have, there are like different borders and motifs, stuff like that. I don't remember the exact name of the book I got this from, but I do have, I think I took like a screenshot so I could remember, and I'll put that down in the project description with the link to it. But it's a cool resource if you want like some public domain, like copyright free alphabets sort of thing. So I need to finish this at some point, but it's all stitched up, and then this is how much of the Merlot I have left. Maybe, I don't know what I'm gonna put on it, but once I start getting like these smaller pieces, I'm like, I gotta figure out what to put on it so I can get it out of my stash. But we'll find, I'll find something. I think, so I've been wanting to stitch the, some of the Zodiac Girls by Nora Corbett. If you're familiar with the series, you know that some of them have like horns. There's Capricorn has horns, and Taurus and Aries. So those three all have like, they're like horns on the ladies. And as soon as I saw those, the first thing I thought of was, I thought that they looked a lot like tieflings, which are a character, like a player character from Dungeons and Dragons. So I really want to stitch those. those three, just those three, like remove all the zodiac symbols, all the wording, like rechart anything that needs to be recharted, and then do skin conversions for them, because tieflings have like, they can have like human colors for their skin, but most of the time it's like red and purple and blue, fun things like that. So I want to stitch those, and it might work. I might try on 40 count, and I think it might fit on that. Could work on that. I can see if one of them would look good on this, but that's an idea. I just haven't. I don't know. When I looked at the patterns, the one I looked at was Capricorn, and I saw that there was like some sheer sleeving, so the skins showed through, and so that's going to complicate any skin conversion, because you're going to have to like figure out the color between, you know, like purple skin and the actual fabric color, like what it would look like. So that makes it a little harder, but that might be the only one with the sheer sleeves. I'll see. I don't know. That could be complicated. We'll see. Okay, this one that I'm going to show next. Oh wait, this is not next. This is next. This is my video game sampler. This is something I am stitching where I make a little pattern for the different video games I played. So I added a Pikmin one, and then I started on this one, and I didn't get very far. That's how I got. This is going to be Frog Detective. I think what happened is I know what happened is that I did like this backstitch word like right here, and realized it was in the wrong place. And it was in a place where it would totally like just, the whole pattern would have had to been readjusted, and I wasn't going to do that. So I had to frog it. And of course it's called Frog Detective, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, I just need to, you know, get back to this one. Whenever I'm like frogging something, I don't like to frog stuff, so I try and fudge it as best I can. But in this case, I didn't feel like I could fudge it. So I usually try and like frog it though before I put it back, and then I just don't stitch on it for a while. But at least when I pick it up, I don't have to deal with frogging it or remembering that as much. And this is on a 40 count, picture this plus, linen called Glory, stitch 1/2. So it hasn't gotten very far. It's going to be a 7x9 grid, with this being one like block. So it'll be like 7 of these going this way, and then all the way down 9. So there's a lot there, a lot. And I haven't designed them all. I've only designed 4, and I haven't designed more. I haven't been like super jazzed to, like, if I wanted to I would, but also I feel like I should stitch the ones I already have until like then I'll design more, be more motivated to design them. So that was that one. Now I have, this is a new start. I didn't talk about it in the last one because it was something I designed at the beginning of my break, winter break, like after my daughter got back from school. I don't know. I think I went, you know, it was like mid-November to mid-December. I was so busy with my Etsy shop, and I didn't have time really to cross stitch, didn't have time to design stuff. So then after I got through the bulk of that, I just wanted to sit down and design something, and this is what I made. I've only started stitching it, so it's not fully stitched, but the idea behind it, I don't know if this is going to make sense, is a cross-stitch themed sampler, but it's not cross-stitch themed in that there's like scissors and thread and, you know, like my utensils, tools or stuff. It's not that sort of cross-stitch theme. It's like cross-stitch theme where the theme is like cross-stitch motifs, like common or like stereotype cross-stitch motifs. It's very silly to me, at least. Has a lot of florals on it. It's got like just various motifs that I think of when I think of cross-stitch. Does that make sense? And there will be a quote on the bottom, and the quote is just, I like cross-stitch. So that's where it's going, but I've only started up in the top left corner, and I haven't made it halfway on this side or this side, so it's still, I think like halfway is like there and there for the two directions. So it's not a quarter, it's almost got a page done. It's almost a quarter finished, but that's where it is right now. This is on the Zweigart apricot linen. So it's very, to me, in this light, it looks a little orange. But it's like a very pinky orange. It's nice because it has some color to it. And then this is the floss ring for it, which is very tangled and mostly DMC. It is mostly DMC and then just one threadworks, which I just happen to have and happened to be the right color that I wanted for that blue. But yeah, it's gonna have, like, there'll be a house on here. There's gonna be like a little tombstone motif. There will be, oh gosh, I can't remember. There's like a little mermaid on here, not the Little Mermaid, but a mermaid, because I think about all the Mirabilia mermaids and cross stitching, just stuff like that. I don't know if it makes sense, and it doesn't really matter anyway. There is a giant moth, because moths are like really big in cross stitch, at least right now they are. But yeah, it's just fun. The colors, I really like the colors, because I was stitching on, which I'll show next, I was stitching on Aviary, this guy right here, and it's a very green blue palette, and I don't know why, but for some reason, just the warm palettes, I'm just more into them at the moment for cross stitching. So I wanted something warmer to stitch on, and this is what I came up with. So I'm gonna keep stitching on this probably soon. I kind of want to get, I started getting back to Aviary just the last couple days, because I'd like to get that one finished first. But we'll see. We'll just see how I feel. It's also nice just stitching on like the 40 count Zweigart, because Zweigart 40 count is, like, for me, very fast. Like, it's just so much easier to stitch on. It's crazy how much easier this is than the 40 count Picture This Plus that I stitch on a lot as well. But that's where we're going with that. So I can get closer. There's no glare for that, at least. Okay. Okay. That's one. And then let me see this last, I think this is the last one. So I showed this off I showed the colors in my last video. Let me try and get it. There we go. And it's now started. So this is, I think I'm gonna call this Aviary, because it just has, it's a pattern with a lot of birds on it. And the initial, like, I wanted to start, I started designing this after reading the book called Piranesi. I think it's by Susanna Clark. That's probably right. And it's not like Piranesi themed, but it's just what I was inspired to make after reading that book, because it does have a lot of bird descriptions and a lot of like atmospheric descriptions of the location in that book. But this is where it's at so far. It's, I think I did get to, this is like the total width of it. That's where we're at. The colors are, I think it's mostly accurate. It's maybe a little, I don't know, it doesn't look as green on camera as what I think it looks like in person. And yeah, so it's got a lot of Quaker-like motifs that I'm adding up in here and on the side, and then this like little centerpiece is going to be like an arch with a lot of birds inside of it. A lot of birds inside this piece. It's on a 40 count, what is this, 40 count Picture This Plus Highland. Yeah, Highland, 1/2. Mostly DMC. It does have the one threadworks, the dark blue. It's the same threadworks from my Cherry Magpie pattern. It's called Peacock Feathers 10244. Yeah, that dark blue color. Blue-green. And then all these DMC, which I think are working. I was worried that these two might not show up very well, but I mean, they're not like, I wouldn't be stitching anything like of significance with it. But I think, like, you can see the light yellow. It's actually not showing up. It's showing up better in person than on the camera, but you know, it's just like little small little decorative pieces, and then like the clouds, so it's not a problem, and I think it actually looks really good like that. But yeah, that is my last piece for now. Last thing I have to share today. I think I'm gonna be trying to work more on this one. I just designed another piece that I do want to get started, but also I already have these two going, so I probably shouldn't start it, but I need to buy fabric for it, I think. So it's going to be going on 40 count persimmon, which I've stitched something on persimmon before, but it's a really pretty, I might post a little picture. It's like a really pretty warm pinky, like dusty pink and brown. I don't know how to describe it, but I have a pattern design for that, and I would like to start it, but also don't want to start it because I don't want to like leave these ones behind. They're like both of them at a point where this one has at least a quarter done because the halfway point is there, and then I think the page finish was here, like along here. So I haven't finished this page, but it's definitely got 25% done on it. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I got a request the other day from a customer who bought something off my Ko-fi, and they were asking if I could do a saga pattern for the pattern that they bought. And I think I figured out how to make saga patterns now, or how to convert my patterns into files that can be used in Saga. So if anyone, I haven't gotten confirmation from that person if the file actually works in Saga. It is the right file extension, but I'm not sure if it works yet because I haven't gotten that confirmation. But if anyone wants, if anyone has purchased a pattern of mine and they would like to have it on Saga, I think I can do it now, but you can just message me, or it probably is best if you just message me through whatever platform you purchase, so like Etsy or Ko-fi. Just give me a message and I can, I haven't converted all of them into that file type because I want confirmation first. I'm like it's like a couple of steps involved in doing it, so it's not like just an easy click of the button, but I would like to get all of my patterns available as Saga once I'm sure that it is working as intended, and I'm not just like making things up, that it's Saga compatible. So I want to do that, and that I don't know why this reminded me of that, but yes, that was something I wanted to mention to anyone who wants a pattern in Saga format. And then yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I don't know. I don't make a lot of goals, so I don't have any like 2025 goals. I do want to do a finished parade, but I wanted to do this first just to like catch up on stuff because it just was getting to be like a mountain of things to go through. But I would still like to do that 2024 finished parade, and yeah, just work on stuff that I have already started. I don't know. I'm down to, I don't know exactly how many whips I have, but I'm down to like under 10 whips, and I think I like that. I think I want to try and keep it under 10 whips. Just keep working on what I have for now. There are a couple of things that I want to start, like the Nora Corbett Zodiac girls that look like tieflings. I want to maybe start one of those this year, and that's the main start that I have in mind. I did buy some patterns on 123 Stitch that haven't arrived yet, some paper patterns, and I might start one of those at some point as well. But yeah, I guess another goal for 2025 that I have is putting together a master DMC set, because I think Stephanie Allison on Cross Stitch Globe, they were talking about wanting to do a master DMC set in 2025, and that I really need that. I think I need that, like, whenever I go to like pick colors for these, I have, like, for designs I make, I have a color card, like one of those DMC fold out cards, but it's not the same. Like, I don't know what, I think it's the fact that like on the card, the thread is like all perfectly laid out, and like it's much shinier, like it's not catching as many shadows, so it doesn't look the same. Like when I try and, I don't know, I have trouble like comparing what's on the card and then like trying to make things out of like what I have and what's on the card. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's confusing. It's not even something that, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know why the card is such a trouble for me. Also, I think because you can't fit things close together. You can't put things up next to each other like you can with a flustring. And that really helps with color picking, I think. So I really need a master set so I don't have to keep going to, I end up like going to my LNS or Michael's, whichever I'm closest by, and just like buying all the colors, because also I have things in different projects, so I never have all the colors present on my rings. So I'd like to do a master set. I think I'm going to keep it on rings by color family, because that's how I have it sorted right now, and that is very nice for designing, because you can just pick off, you're like, I want pink, so you pick off the pink ring, and then it's just, you can pull the pinks that look like they could fit, and then you can narrow it down after that. But so that's one of my goals. I think I'm making that a goal, is a master set for DMC, which might involve dekittings. I don't know. I don't really want to take stuff out of kits. I don't want to deal with that organization, but I'll probably just start with one ring at a time and just go with that. And then there's 20, how many colors? I think there's 20 of the regular DMC, like solid colors, 20 families of colors. So that's two, like, you do 2 a month, you get there by the end of the year, maybe. We'll see. So yeah, I think that's all I got for now. It's like the sun is kind of coming out now. It looks nicer. Should have waited to film this for a bit. But I hope everyone is having a great holiday break if you had it. I hope everyone has a happy new year. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully a 2024 finish braid. See you though. Okay, bye.